Hey everyone, it's a beautiful day and I'm by the Moray Firth. Can't ask for more than this, but also flying to Las Vegas tomorrow. Who'd have thought that? And at one time, Vegas would be, well, I used to tell people actually, Vegas was like, if I made a list of all the places in the world that I wanted to visit, Vegas would be right at the bottom. And tomorrow, Lynn and I are going to Vegas for the MPG kind of annual jamboree. So I wanted to talk about money, healthcare models, MLM. Because if you're anything like me, then you've probably got at least some level of distrust in network marketing, multi-level marketing. And I totally get it. I completely get it. I've had that for a long time myself. And like many other things, I've done a U-turn. I've completely changed my mind about a lot of things. So let's just like cards on the table. Let's have it out. Let's get it all out, right? Okay. What are the alternatives of healthcare? Where should the money come from? Where should the money go? Should money even change hands for health? Interesting. Now, ancestrally, our tribes would have had the medicine man, medicine woman, healer, shaman, whatever, and their job in the tribe, everyone had roles in their tribe. Their job was to provide healing, and what benefited the individual benefited the tribe, and vice versa. Talked a lot about that in the Red Pill Revolution and the Red Pill Food Revolution. Read those books, they're fantastic. So there was no money. Money was only invented after we had to switch to agriculture, after the demise of the megafauna, and we started living in bigger societies where the tribal model of where you knew everybody in the tribe, that could no longer work. Okay, so what have we got today? The complete other end of the spectrum, which is the pharmaceutical cartel. If you don't know about this, again, it's written about in both of those books. Just look into it, read Rockefeller Medicine Men if you want to go even deeper. Pretty good background on it. Bottom line, the pharmaceutical industry is not the healthcare industry. They do not deliver health. They are not concerned with health. They are concerned with shifting product. It's one of the biggest industries on the planet, behind food, and probably right up there alongside weapons, war. And it's largely a failure. They are making money out of failure. They do not cure anything. So let me qualify that. Modern medicine is incredibly good at certain things. You get hit by a truck, you want to go into the emergency room for sure, right? What they can do to your body physically can be incredible. You can get a scan, identify a faulty heart valve. They can operate surgically and replace it with one from a pig. Absolute miracle, right? Now, when it comes to chronic disease, it's a failure. It's just a complete failure. There was a doctor, I think he was called David McClellan, in the early 20th century. He used to go around giving talks and lectures, and he offered a cash prize to any physician who could say, hand on heart, I have cured somebody of some chronic condition using pharmaceuticals, right? He never had to give the money out because people don't do it. It doesn't happen. They don't cure a damn thing. The pharmaceutical industry exists to plaster over symptoms and to try and alleviate symptoms. It very often the pharmaceuticals cause as many symptoms as they promise to alleviate, sometimes much, much worse, as we know. And so you end up taking drugs to make up for the other drugs, etc., etc. It's a complete sham, right? If I got cancer diagnosis tomorrow, God willing I won't, I would go into a prolonged, probably dry fast, because my body is well nourished. I would continue taking fix, and I would continue with a high-fat carnivore diet. End of story. There is no one part of me that would consider radiotherapy or chemotherapy. My personal belief is that chemo kills more people than cancer does. Right? You are entitled to your beliefs as well. So even in those cases, yeah, do we have people who get over their cancer? Yes, maybe temporarily, maybe it comes back. So what are the other models? Well, there's not much really, but I think in the Holocene, as in post-agriculture, post-human civilization, this current interglacial period, the best historical model that I've ever heard of is ancient China, where physicians were compensated. They were paid for keeping you healthy, right? So your family would pay the physician when you were healthy, and if you were sick, they didn't get paid, right? So it's like an insurance policy. It's the opposite of how it works in the modern world, where these companies make money out of you being sick. That's why you get big food companies like Kellogg's and whatever. They're investing in pharmaceuticals. Right? It's all the same money, right? The food that makes us sick is owned by the companies are owned by the same people that produce the medicines to replace it. The companies that cause diabetes invest in diabetes treatments. It's good business, right? That's what marketing is. You create a problem and then promise to solve it, and then don't solve it and create another problem. That's exactly how it all works anyway. So let's talk about network marketing and multi-level marketing. MPG, the company that I'm now promoting, their products that I'm promoting, and where all that fits in. So if you think about it, isn't this the nearest thing that we've got to the Chinese model? So what? I take Fix twice a day. Take it in the morning and the evening. So that costs, about $150 a month for the product. A bit more for tax and shipping, etc. But just, on average, $150 a month. That's $5 a day. That's a bottle of piss poor wine, or whatever. There's loads of things that you can find that cost that kind of money. And I'm in perfect health. I have been for some while. I've not had a chronic disease anyway. The stories that I'm seeing every single day about pretty much every chronic condition that I can think of, even like my hair color coming back, right, all the way up to the aforementioned nasty ones that I'm not going to talk about specifically, because it would be breaking the law for me to make any claim anyway. So what it does is it tells your body to heal. It tells your body you have to heal, and we would not need that. I've said this many times before. We wouldn't need it if we were living our natural lifestyle, because you would be in rest, digest, heal and repair mode for probably the majority of your life. And we've got no idea how long people would have lived there either. So you'd be spending more time, the cells of your body, every tissue in your body would have more time repairing than it would be under stress. Today we have the complete opposite. We're spending far more time under stress. Our bodies are insulted by everything under the sun. Not the sun itself, worth adding. And so we are degenerating, aging, dying slowly, and that's what we call chronic disease. And the so-called healthcare industry, which is bullshit because it's not healthcare at all, tells you that this is just, aging is just, it's what happens when you get older. Right? This stuff is incurable, it's irreversible, you can't put it into remission. Oh, make of that what you will. So, talking about the model then. So how it works, right? How are Lynn and I going to Vegas? Was she able to buy a new car the other day when hers broke down? Not brand new car, but we replaced it. And it's a very different model. And ask yourself this question, right? If you're one of these people who go, I don't want to give my money to some multi-level marketing company, would you rather give your money to some pharmaceutical company with $1 billion marketing budget, right? Who buy out the scientific journals, who buy politicians, right? Who hide research if it doesn't suit their financial interests? I mean, in your soul, would you really want to send your money there? Okay, so what else? You know, what is the alternative? Well, there's one alternative is I don't want to give my money to anyone, but I'll continue buying my ribeye steaks, and that's great, and I wouldn't argue with that at all. But the reality is that if you are living in the modern world, and if a high-fat keto carnivore diet is not quite doing it for you, then there's something else, and that something else, I believe, at this point in my life, is when we're living in chronic stress. When you're living in chronic stress, your body stores visceral fat, it doesn't produce the hormones properly, there's too much cortisol, you're breaking down your body. You are simply not rebuilding. When your cortisol levels are too high, which they are for most people most of the time now, then you are in the sympathetic nervous state. You are set for action, and that means that your repair is switched off. Your deep repair. Right? Maybe you get a bit of time when you're asleep at night, as long as you're not jacked up on caffeine and alcohol and whatever, and you've got proper sleep. Your hormones are being triggered in the right order. They've got a very specific circadian timetable. High cortisol interrupts all of that. Blue light at night interrupts all of that. So if you are not living pretty close to an ancestral lifestyle, then you will be degenerating. You will be breaking down. You will be aging. So the alternative to giving your money to a big pharmaceutical cartel, or not giving your money to anyone, is this model, which I think is heaven sent. I think it's absolutely fantastic, right? What you're doing is you're buying the product, and there's some profit that gets shared with the people who come and tell you, take the damn product, right? This is being marketed through people's stories, by human beings. We are doing this for each other, with each other, among ourselves, right? There's very little information out there about this product. It only came out in the third quarter of 2024 anyway. It's not even been out for a year. It's literally, and I mean literally, changing lives. If you've got any question about, like, oh, what about this condition, right? Ask me, because I'm collecting testimonials, people's genuine stories from genuine human beings who are saying, I'm so glad that I have this product, right? Ask me about it. And yes, it's enriching some people. Fantastic. This is the thing. I used to be disgusted by the idea of wealth and living in a world where I was pushing money away, I was pushing wealth away. And in the meantime, the pharma cartel is becoming as big as arms and food. And I think that's an absolute disgusting disgrace. So what this is us doing something about this. This is a grassroots response. In many ways, this is also reflective of humans building the new world that we need to see, which will come after the collapse of this matrix system that we're living in now, where the big money tells us what to eat, tells us what to believe, tells us that we have to go to the doctor and pop the pills when we get sick, tells us that your body can't fix itself and that just getting sick is part of getting old. Bullshit. If you believe that, then I'm sorry. But I understand, we've all been raised that way. There's not much you can do. if there's any part of you that thinks, okay, there's something about what this fella is saying that makes sense, but I don't know, MLM, pyramid scheme, it's not a pyramid scheme, then all I can say to you is, well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Right, it costs $29.99 if you want to be an independent sales rep for the year. That's your yearly thing. It costs, what is it, $169.99? It depends. It varies from country to country. It's only $9.99 in Australia to sign up for a year. You know, the prices are different. I can let you know what all of that stuff is. Just drop me a message via Substack, Facebook, Messenger, email ben@benhunt.com, whatever you want. Just reach out. There's only one way to know, isn't there? Really? There's only one way to know. All I can do is tell you what I've seen, what I've heard. Yeah, I haven't got a story of healing chronic disease because I wasn't sick in the first place. I can tell you that I've never felt better in my life. I can tell you that my waistline is shrinking. After 8 weeks on the product, I guess my body was busy fixing other stuff for those 8 weeks, and now my visceral fat is just melting away. You know, trust your body, trust nature, trust God, trust your creator, however you think you were created, right? This works, and it's an absolute hack. It's a complete hack. It's miraculous in that way. You know, why should this work? I can't explain why it should work, but it works. There's only one way to find out. Get in touch and find out. See you later.